Hi everyone, it's Nicole and I'm here with another layout. Now we've chosen our kit, we made our page kits, and then we chosen our embellishments and photos. And like I said in yesterday's video, as I'm choosing the embellishments, I don't really know what photos I'm going to use, but as I'm putting these embellishments together, I start thinking, I look at the embellishments and does it kind of ring something for me or make me think of, something, an event or a day. And this little 4x6 card, it said, "I love you more than ice cream." And of course, as soon as I read that, I thought about Mason, because that is totally something that Mason would say, or probably has said, because he says stuff like that all the time. And I thought it'd be fun to put all these little stories onto one layout. And the title of this page will be Funny Things You Say. Okay, so when I started this page, I had no idea what I was going to do. It had been a few weeks since I had scrapbooked, and I was looking at the papers and the embellishments, and I was like, I have no idea. I literally walked away 2-3 times, and a lot of people, talk about that when they don't scrapbook for a while, and it's almost the same as scrapper's block, I think. But it's scrapbooker's block, and I think I'm going to talk about it in tomorrow's video too, because tomorrow's video is a scrap and chat. But I really had a hard time getting going, so literally I had stepped in and out of my scrap room several times, and then this last time I was just like, okay, just start cutting papers and you'll get into the flow. So I knew what pictures I wanted to scrapbook, and it was this picture of Mason. He was sitting, it was actually at the zoo, and there was this block and it had the M on it, which was, that's why I made him sit on it to take a picture. But I thought it would be the perfect picture just to tell, this story that I want to tell about the funny things that he says. And so I took the 2 pattern papers that were in that page kit that I had put together, and I cut it down to about, I'd say, 5 by 10. I didn't measure it. I just made 2 of them that were the same size, and I thought maybe I could make a block in the middle of the layout. Again, I just started cutting papers because just staring at them wasn't helping me, so I thought, well, I'll just start cutting. I cut 2 of that size, but when I put it in the center of the layout, as you saw, it didn't work out, because that background paper had a floral to the bottom right of the pattern paper. It was printed there, and you could still kind of see that floral. So that wasn't going to work. So then I started playing with the pattern papers. You saw me moving them vertically. And then I thought, well, if I could just cover that flower. So I took one of the pattern papers and I moved it and covered it, covered the flowers. And I thought, I wonder if I put the other pattern paper to the top left. And it was okay. I like that. But then I felt like it was disconnected. So with those 4x6 cards, one was vertical, because the one that says I love you more than ice cream was vertical, and the other one was horizontal. So you saw me at first, I put the I love you more than ice cream sort of to the left of that paper block, and I didn't like how that looked. But as soon as I put it and made sort of like a T with my 4x6 cards, one the vertical and one, or an L, an upside down L, I really liked how that looked, and it kind of connected those 2 pattern papers together. It connected the whole layout by me doing that. And then I knew I wanted some journaling, so I just got one of those 4x6 cards from Project Life. So that's worked out great. Now I wanted to mat the photo, and I just went to my stash and got like a bluish aqua pattern paper. and I find it doesn't match perfectly, but I'm going to cut it down so that it's a very, very thin border. And then I'm going to use my favorite ink, the Evergreen Bow, and I'm going to ink the edges of all the pattern papers and even that cardstock. And by doing that, it turns the cardstock to the right color. So I kind of, tweaked it a little bit to fit what I wanted to do. But I don't like to look for stuff for too long. So that cardstock was close enough. So then I got it to work. Now that I've inked all the edges, now I'm going to start gluing everything down. I like the direction that this is going. And so I'm going to start gluing it down. Now, what I would say is if, you're kind of in scrappers block, I'm going to talk about that today and some ways that I sort of take myself out of it. But another thing is that I don't think I mentioned tomorrow, but is just to do it. Just grab that page kit, and that's where a page kit comes in really handy, because then it's you don't have to do that part of it. You've already chosen the pattern papers, the embellishments, the photos. So that part of it is done. So then you just take a page kit and you start, even if you don't have a plan in mind, just start cutting the pattern papers and start moving them around on the layout. And really, all it is pattern papers, right? So even if it's something that you're like, no, there's still, like, I cut 5 by 10 of these 2 pattern papers. There's still leftovers from the rest of the pattern paper that I could have brought those in instead and made a totally different layout. I managed to get this working, but if I didn't, I could just have used the leftovers or the scraps of what I had cut apart and tried to make a layout with that, which I probably will at the end of all this, because my goal is, as I'm putting these page kits together, whatever I have left over, so all the embellishments, all the pattern papers, I'm putting them aside from the rest of my stash, and I'm going to make probably 2 or 3 pages with the leftovers from that. So that page kit is going to keep giving. So it's going to do these 11 layouts, 11 page kits, so 11 layouts that I had put together at the beginning, and then I'm going to try and do a few more at the end, just so that I have less things to put into my stash. Now that I have, glued down the pattern papers, now I'm taking these embellishments that I had put with this page kit, and I start making some embellishments. So I knew embellishment clusters. So I knew that I wanted an embellishment cluster near that 4x6 card, the one that says "I love you more than ice cream." So I started there, and there was an ice cream bar in one of the embellishment clusters. So that was perfect, or in the embellishment packages. So I'm going to put it in one of the clusters, and then the rest is just, tags and frames, and those are the things that I like to use when I start embellishment clusters. I like to use either tags, frames, circles, rectangles. So as I'm making these page kits, I make sure that is in each embellishments, or some of the embellishments that I throw in there, I make sure that those are the types of things that I throw into each page kit, if that makes any sense. So I went into my stash and I found some letter stickers that I was so excited when, they were for sale, and I bought them right away. They're these Amy Tangerine transparent letters. Absolutely love them. And if you look through as I'm flipping through, never been used. And the next package that's right next to it, same thing, never been used. So I'm digging into some older stash, and there was some aqua letters in there, so that was perfect. I first started with the word things because at first I thought my title would be, oh, the things you say, or something like that. And then as I was working on the title, I thought, no, I think I like funny things you say. And so I'm going to do funny and say in these letters from Amy Tangerine. And then I went into my stash and found these mini market stickers from October Afternoon. And I'm going to spell out things and you. So then it'll be funny things you say. And I like it that it overlays, because these letters are transparent. I want them so that they overlay over the butterflies. So you're still going to see the butterflies, but it's a perfect place to anchor my title. And so I'm going to make sure that every part of the title touches the butterfly, and I'm just going to stick it down. And I really like how that turns out. So before I run out of time here, a couple of things, funny things that Mason has said, about loving something more than something else. When he was really young, I think he was like probably 1.5, he had told Katie, which is my second daughter, that he loved apple juice more than her. And she thought it was hilarious, but she still brings it up to this day, which is like 3 years later. And then another time he had told her that Pat was his favorite, which is her boyfriend. He says stuff like that to tease us, but it's so funny. And another time he had told someone that he loved them more than ice cream, which is perfect, right, for this title. And just a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't feeling good. I had a migraine, and he came and snuggled up to me, and I don't know if he was trying to make me feel better or what, but he says, "Mammy, I love you more than Pappy." And I just thought that was so funny, because there is no way. Him and his, Pappy, they're like best friends. They hang out all the time, and they do all kinds of fun stuff. But it's funny, the things that kids will say, right? So I'm going to put a few of those stories onto that journaling card, and I think it'll be funny for him to read that years from now. The funny things that he says. And what I'm going to do is, before I do the journaling, is I'm going to ask everyone. So before I start my journaling, I'm just going to ask everyone, a funny thing that he said to them. And it might be the stories that I just said or something else. But then on the journaling card itself, I'll just put, from Caitlin, from Josh, from Jess, his mom, and my husband, and myself. So I think that'll be a funny page for him to read years from now, that the things that he said to all of us. Now back quickly to the layout. I just added a few words to each, or word stickers to each of the clusters, and now I'm adding some thread. And my question to you this time, because this video is coming to a close, is, in a year, on an average, how many layouts do you complete in a year? I'm interested. I went from a year I did 240. I think last year I did 100 and maybe 50 pages. And this year my goal was 150, but I'm only like at 40 some, if that. So I'm still going to aim on doing that amount. But let me know, how many layouts do you complete in 1 year? And just a reminder, for the entire month of July, I'll be uploading a video a day. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And if you're enjoying these videos, if you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up. And coming up, I do have some close-ups, and we will see you again tomorrow. And I hope everyone's having a great weekend. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.